So you have a topic in mind and you're ready to write about it, but you're not sure how to start. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to come up from concept to an actual post on the internet that people can read. And stay tuned for the very last step, because that's how you're going to get the engagement that you're looking for to really move your blog post forward. So in this video, I'm going to quickly show you how to get your blog post out into the world in 5 easy steps. The last 2 is really there to help you get the engagement that you're looking for. So here we go. Step 1, selecting a title. So maybe you have an idea in mind of what you want to write about. It might be a guide or 5 steps for doing something. In either case, you want that to you want the title to be eye-popping and catchy. Go ahead and start with an example of an article that actually a friend of mine had just written about networking. So one of the things that I'm gonna go over is how to generate that amazing title that's gonna capture people's attention. And one of the things that I like to use, there's actually 2. There's one called the Hoth, and here you can sort of fill in the blanks and get a general idea of types of headlines that are really catchy. And another is a Kick-Ass Headline Generator. Now I actually prefer Kick-Ass Headline Generator primarily because you can just go ahead and use it, fill it in. It doesn't really ask for an email or anything like that, and you have numerous options. So I'm going to go ahead and just quickly fill this out so you can see what kind of headlines this generates. So in this case, like I said, this is going to be about networking, and then sort of what's the desired outcome? Well, really meet successful investors. This is networking in terms of meeting either real estate investors or people who invest in stocks, mutual funds, things like that. Undesirable outcome, feeling broke. Well, that's probably accurate, sure. Let's see, audience. Probably beginner investors, sure. Points in contact. I don't have it in front of me, but I'll just assume it's 5. Piggy bank. Yeah, sure. That's a helpful aid. Seemingly inconsequential action. In this case, since it's related to networking, maybe just saying hi. So yeah, once you fill this out, it automatically starts giving you some great headlines here, like how saying hi can stop you, in this case, maybe from feeling broke. Actually, that's a great title right there. I'm almost tempted to just use that one. What you should know about networking, that's very general, that's very on top of what he's trying to say and what he's talking about in his blog post, and I might actually just go with that. Other things that you can look into, let's look at strong conversational here. Let's start networking. That's a great rally cry type headline. And let's see, imagine networking in 2019. Anyway, in either case, you can go ahead and just fill this out. Again, it's that Kick-Ass Headline Generator. And then again, the other option here is the Hoth. As you can see, I filled it out already, and it gave me some ideas as well. Networking, things you didn't know you didn't know. Is networking worthless? Some great titles. The Ultimate Guide to Networking. But again, here you did have to go in and submit an email address. It's a great site though, and they have great content. I would definitely recommend reading through this site as well. But let's go ahead and use this one here. Explanatory, nice and simple, what you should know about networking. Real quick, is this tutorial making sense so far? If it is, type in blog in the comments below. I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Step 2, writing a draft. Now, there's a lot of little things that you can do to really excel at creating a really strong, readable blog post. You can use words like you and I to make it more conversational, and you can break up things with really strong subheaders and images, but let's not worry about all of that. What's important is that you get your first draft written, and there's 2 really quick ways to do that. One is to just pick a time, start and end, and just write. Start with an outline and just fill it out. The second way is to do piece by piece. Maybe you do one section, then you take a break, wait the next day, write another section, but ultimately what you want to do is get that draft completed. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is your first blog post. You just need to get it done and get it out the door. So my suggestion to you is don't overthink too hard of what you're writing,
and just get your ideas down on paper. Over time, especially if you do this every week, multiple times a week, your writing will improve. I'm no writer, but it definitely had helped me a great deal when I just continuously did it.
I wanted to quickly show you guys how to actually take your draft. Here we have an example of, again, a friend of mine writing a quick article on networking and adding that to your WordPress blog. So I'm just going to quickly here click on post, and then these options show up. Add new, because this is a new blog post. And then as that gets generated here, easily you can add title. We actually came up with the title by looking at Kick-Ass headlines, and that title that I can go with is what you should know about networking. And then now it's just a matter of copy and paste. Now I do want to just quickly note that, again, like, as you can see here, it's just like bullet points and a couple of headlines. This, for your first draft, you just really need to get out there and write write your thoughts on paper, and you can always massage it later, but ultimately just get going and get that first draft out. So here we're just gonna do some copy and pasting. You can see that the formatting sort of follows. Another thing that's really nice, if you do keep it simple, you can just copy the whole thing over, hit paste, and there you go. It's all in there. So later on in this video, we'll talk a little bit more about how to make it a little more visually appealing, make it easier to read for scanners, and all those good things. But I just wanted to quickly show you what it takes to actually add it to your WordPress blog.
Step 3, adding breakpoints. So one of the things that you can do is add breakpoints within your post to make it a little more appealing to what I like to call scanners. People who kind of like to skim through a blog post and try to get the gist of it right away before dedicating the actual time to read it. There's a couple ways to do that.
So using our example here, again, what you should know about networking, we're gonna go ahead and add these breakpoints to make it easier for our readers and our audience to really just go through this. I'm gonna go ahead and change some of these headlines here so it's a little easier to navigate. So benefits of networking, the most valuable reason to network. We want to make sure that that's a heading 2, so that way it stands out. Most valuable reasons to network. Then we don't even need all of that. Let's just keep it nice and short for our readers. Education and contacts. All right, and then here, where to network. By the way, if you have better ideas on what these subheaders should be, by all means, leave a comment below. But here we have 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, again, you know what we could do? Maybe to make this a little more appealing, in fact, how about the top 3 best places to network. There you go. Nice, even shorter and direct to the point. The top 3 best places to network. We want to add some images, so we're going to go here and set featured image. I've actually have one created here that I want to upload, so we're going to upload one now. And if you, I'm going to provide a link at the bottom here on how I created this. But there it is, what you need to know about networking. Another thing that we want to do is, add some images in these blocks to make it a little more readable. So the way to do that is we can add block, image, then hit upload. And I've got several images here that, let's upload. I think this first one should be a good one here. Right, the most valuable reason to network, education and contracts. And here we have a person sort of speaking. Another thing you can also do is kind of move it off to the side. Right, so it's not necessarily a main image. We do the same thing here. And typically what I like to do is add an image potentially for every section. You don't have to do that, but it just makes it a little more eye appealing. Again, when you have scanners, or people who are trying to understand quickly what you're about before they dig into it, they can see the subhead, they can see the image, and get a clear understanding of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to say. So what I like about this image here is, again, the top 3 best places to network, and one of them is everyday travels. And so we have a picture here of someone traveling, and again, the top 3 best places to work, and you see this picture and you're like, oh, he's traveling. All right, what does that mean? And then you can dig into that. All right, finally, with some adjustments here, I moved some images around. That way there's a little more breakpoints in between the text and sort of the flow of the blog post here. And we're gonna go ahead and hit preview. And I also adjusted the title just a little bit, what you don't know about networking. And here we can see the headline here of education, and then there's the image. Here we have everyday travel. And you just can see how much easier it is sort of for the mind to kind of read and get an idea of what this post looks like. So there you go.
Were one or more of the ideas in this blog post helpful to you? Do you think you'd probably implement them in your blog post? If so, put down "let's do this" in the comments below. Step number 4 is feedback. And the way to get feedback or comments on your post is to have a call to action at the very bottom. Something that lets the user know that you want them to engage with you. And this is really important because this engagement allows you to see whether or not what you're writing is resonating. More importantly, it's a way to get ideas on what to write about next. So you really want to make sure that that call to action, requesting for comments, requesting for feedback is there. And once you have that feedback, once you have those comments, make sure you respond back so they know that you're actually listening. And it could be as simple as a thank you, or hey, that's a great point, I'll make sure to follow up on my next post. So those things are really critical to make sure that you're on the right track. And the final step, the real critical step, is sharing your post with the rest of the world. And that means through social media. So you want to be able to share that on your Facebook page, through Twitter, through Instagram, through Pinterest. All of those social media outlets are critical to make people aware that your blog post is out there. So although that might be a little nerve-wracking, especially for your first post, the truth is once you do it and once you get over that, it just becomes habit. This will allow you to get the feedback that you need so that your writing and your topics become more honed to the audience that you are targeting. Once again, thank you for watching, and you can follow me at Ron Parnasso on Instagram and Twitter, as well as at my website, refactordaily.com. And if you have an interest in investing or personal finance, you can also go to nextupinvestments.com. Thanks.